Fridays, I go live on YouTube because it saves so much time through Zoom.
I'm logging into YouTube using a 1MCABQ Gmail account, so hopefully that's the right thing.
Okay.
It says it's live. Well, it says it's live, but
Fridays, I go live on YouTube.
All right.
Yeah. Are you guys? There we go.
There you go. Better? Is it good? Can you see it?
Can we see the link? Is that what you're? Oh, I can see the live link.
Okay.
How do we access that on YouTube? So
my daughter lost her banana, and that was really a crisis, so I had to work on that.
I think Adam's going to put the link in there for us. Good morning, everyone. Live on YouTube. Welcome to 1MCABQ. Today's October 7th. We're trying YouTube today because we can't get we can't get Facebook to work, but we're good. Adam's going to share some links to the YouTube feed, both here and on Facebook.
Cool. And it is 9 a.m. It's time for me to kick it off. So good morning, everybody. And I know we have 20 participants in Zoom at the moment. So first of all, who here is new and would like to introduce themselves? Go ahead and unmute yourself, or you can also nominate someone to introduce themselves. We're looking for 3 people to just say hello and tell us who you are. And you know what? I am going to nominate somebody. Ben, why don't you unmute yourself and say hello this morning?
Good morning, Albuquerque. I hope you're feeling, boy, I teleported into Ames, Iowa, then over to Lincoln, Nebraska. This is my 3rd cup of coffee, my friends. So it is a treat to have the mountain time now pouring. It's good to be here. I am the Midwest Regional Rep, and so I'm joining you from Des Moines, Iowa, and my role within the 1MC Nation is a real blessing. I get to help support and connect fellow organizers throughout our 12-state region. And one of the neat things that I am excited to share is that we're presenting next week. I'm also an entrepreneur, and so we have an open house scheduler. We're going to be coming and learning from the perspective of your community. That's probably a good segue. You called on Ben. There's actually another Ben in the room.
I just saw that.
Put him on the spot as well. Sinclair, say hello.
Hey, everybody. I'm the other Ben. So I'll be presenting with Ben next week there in Albuquerque, but known Ben for a long time. Actually met him at 1MCABQ here in Des Moines, and we worked on quite a few projects together, different startups, and we're going to be happy to present what we're working on now with you guys next week. So glad to be here, Albuquerque.
Cool. Well, thank you both, Bens. Let me go back to there. Okay, and one more person. Who else would like to introduce themselves this morning?
I see another unknown face, Diane Datz. Let's hear from you.
Good morning. My name is Diane Datz. This is the first time that I'm joining. I'm a physical therapist, and I just started a private practice. So this is kind of a side project right now, but my focus is working on endurance athletes, so mostly triathletes, cyclists, and runners. So nice. Yeah, I'm happy to join you guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, welcome. Cool. All right. Well, for those of you, the rest of you and everyone who's new, I will tell you a bit about 1MCABQ. So it is a national event, and you know, I want to say ours is the best, but Ben might might say otherwise.
Hey, I agree. Whoever's here knows this is the place to be.
Okay. All right. Well, the mission of 1MCABQ is to lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for all new and aspiring entrepreneurs. And we do that by, first of all, creating a consistent program that brings people in to watch, right? We coach all our presenters No one is here to sell you on their product. We're just here to make connections. If an entrepreneur needs one connection to just get to that next step, we help make that happen. And also as an audience, we help them with their challenges, but we also learn from their journey as an entrepreneur. We also highlight the uniqueness and value of our local startup community. Our key pillars, right? Presentations, not pitches. We make authentic connections, so no one hands each other their business card, even if we were meeting in person. We just talk to each other and get to know each other. And it's run for the community, by the community, which you'll see by our organizers and our supporters. And we want to be radically and intentionally inclusive. And we mean that by everything. We take in all types of businesses to present, and we want to see all representative entrepreneurs on our stage. And if you have a business and you have at least one paying client, please apply to present. And the reason we ask you have at least one paying client is oftentimes, if you're a new startup and you don't have any clients, you often find that you have to pivot in order to make that first sale. And if you've presented, that kind of makes your presentation moot if you've had to pivot. So once you have that first sale, come see us, apply. We'd love to hear from you. And this is my awesome organizing team, Paul Zotter, Lisa Adkins, Eric Renz-Whitmore, our newest organizing member, Bobsy Sanandale, Adam Sparks-Brechtel, and of course myself. Lisa and I are co-leads on this, so we make sure all the magic happens every Wednesday morning, but everyone else is doing a lot of hard work as well. And actually, I should say we all make sure the magic happens. And if you also notice, we're all entrepreneurs, or we have our own businesses that we're working on. So we all do this because we love 1 Million Cups and what it does for our community. And then our great sponsors. When we get back to the real world again, we will be at 1MCABQ, probably doing a hybrid version of 1 Million Cups on virtual and live. And 1MCABQ is a beautiful co-working space. So if you're looking for space to rent, they are open. They are socially distancing. There's this really cool thing at the door that checks your temperature as you walk by. So check them out. And Loza and Loza Intellectual Property, they support our caffeine addictions. So usually they have lots of coffee for us in the morning. More Than Organized. Hi, Miriam. I see you there. She brings our creamer. We also have our official photographer, Jason Collin, who I saw, who was on here. And I saw, Jason, you did photos for Fat Pipe. Is that right?
Yes, and they're awesome.
They were beautiful. I did see them. And then we have Noventum Custom Software. Brian usually brings either the donuts or he bakes baked goods himself. So I cannot wait. His banana nut muffin was so good, and that was a while ago. So I'm looking forward to seeing some in the future. All right, and then Eric is going to introduce today's presenter.
All right, one of the, I love this, the new slides that Sonia and the team have put together here. So one of the things we heard a little bit earlier from two visiting Bens, which is great. And I'd say that there's a silver lining in some of the COVID stuff that's going on now, which is that these virtual events have really extended an opportunity to not only connect with people around the country, but also hear stories and learn about startups and companies from other parts of the United States, other parts of the world. So with that, we are glad to welcome Ken Wimberly, who is the founder and CEO with Legacy of Love app. And we will welcome him over to the stage and get his slide deck on.
All right, can everyone hear me? Thumbs up.
Yes.
Perfect there. All right, let me share a screen. Share sound, perfect. And can you see my screen? Yep, outstanding. So Eric, thank you very much. And I concur with your statement of one of the benefits of COVID is that it's allowed us to really communicate around the world, around the country in a much more effective manner, and certainly a cost-effective manner. So I'm grateful to be presenting to your group today. I'm coming from Fort Worth, Texas, and here I am zooming right on into your, whether it's your living room or your kitchen or your office, wherever it is. Thank you for having me. And let me give you a quick bit of kudos. This is my 6th 1 million cups to present to, and this is the highest turnout of any group that I've seen. So congratulations to you for really having a great turnout with your meetings here. So I'm Ken Wimberly. I'm founder and CEO of Legacy of Love. And what we are is a cross-platform app designed to freeze frame time and capture the precious little moments of life that might otherwise fade away with the passing of time. We're a parent-to-child journaling app designed to be the easy button to capture memories, leave lessons, share gratitude, and impart wisdom to future generations. The idea for this app was planted over 15 years ago with a gift I received on my 34th birthday from my stepmom, Donna. And that gift was a beautiful leather-bound scrapbook that was filled with photographs and stories of my youth. It had pictures of my cousin and aunt who have long since passed away. It had dates on the pages so I knew how old I was. And it was filled with handwritten notes in the margins that told the stories of the many trips we would take and the jokes we told on those trips or the pranks we would play on each other. And it chronicled my life from birth, childhood, adolescence, my time at Kemper Military School, my college graduation, and through the marriage and birth of my first child. And I literally cried when I received it because I was so moved by the thoughtfulness of the gift. I could only imagine how much time and effort it must have taken to put all that together. It had to have been countless days and nights digging through boxes of photos, double checking dates, researching trivia that she included in the scrapbook for me, researching our family surname history, and then putting it all together. And I was and remain today grateful beyond measure. 2 years after she gave me that gift, Donna was diagnosed with bone cancer, and she fought a brave battle, but eventually we lost her. And that beautiful leather-bound journal serves as a testament to her love for me. And that gift started me on a years-long path of journaling to my own children. I wanted something I could do to capture the moments that were happening in our lives so that I could one day pass on those moments to my children. And I made a simple commitment to write in a journal to each child at least once per month. And I started that process when my daughter Grace was just 1 year old and my son Knox was in the womb. And today Grace is 17 years old and Knox is 16. And I have hundreds of entries that I've written in their journals. And those entries led to dozens of conversations I had with other parents and told them what I was doing. And many of whom started journaling to their own children. And I saw firsthand just how powerful it was when parents started slowing down, appreciating the moments that were happening in their lives and capturing those memories to pass down their children. And that led me to create Legacy of Love. We're a safe, secure digital home for parents to document precious memories they want to pass down to future generations. You can include written stories, audio files, saved voicemails, photos, and video. Unlike social media, we're a private place where you can be fully transparent and vulnerable and share the realness of life. When the time's right, you can pass this on to your children or grandchildren. And we're even working with a partnership with a book company to make it really easy for a one-touch export to a hardcover book format. And one of the coolest little features we've got that people give us so much feedback on is a timeline view to capture milestones. And I'll show you a quick little demo. One of our most popular features by far is the timeline view. Sorry, there we go. Let me try to get to this back again. One of our most popular features by far is the timeline view. So in clicking this little squiggly icon, it takes us to the timeline view, and I can see all of the entries made on a very beautiful visual stimulating timeline view. I can filter these entries, say look at just milestones of, let's say, my 4-year-old Kai, And then I can scroll through, go all the way to the bottom here. And here's the neat thing. I can see the major milestones of Kai's life from the very first entry, which was his sonogram, on to the day he was born, his first word at 2 months old. He took him a while to say the second word. Anyway, from rolling over, his first concerts, when he started crawling, walking with a little walker, his airplane ride, first year summaries, officially walking, potty training, on and on, all of the entries that we've designated as milestones here. And then the really kind of cool thing, you can click on any of these, brings up a little summary of what the entry was about, and then click to show details, and you can read the entire actual entry here with all of the details. This was his first day of pre-K4 back to school here. Some photos, little moments from the first day of school, and then further details of his age, if there was a location tag in, and any tags that we've put on there. So pretty neat little way to view all of your milestones of your family member's life. Thanks. So we launched the app in May of 2019. And by end of year 2019, we had grown to just over 1,000 subscribers. Today, we've got just over 3,000 subscribers and growing at a rate of about 50 to 100 per week. We're a freemium business model. We've got a base plan that's totally free. And then we've got two paid versions, our premium plan at $749 a month or $69.99 a year, and our family plan at $1049 a month or $99.99 a year. And we recently just started offering a 14-day free premium trial. And that trial, it's been really interesting, resulted in within 30 days of offering it in a 25% uptick in subscription rates from free to paid. And our premium features include up to 30 photos per entry. We're about to change that to make it unlimited. We just haven't executed that on the development plan yet. And it also includes the ability to add the audio and voicemails and voice files, and the ability to add video, and it unlocks the milestone and timeline features right there. Encourage you to check out our website, legacyoflove.app, learn more about, and I'm happy to answer any questions I can for anyone today.
Well, I think what we need to hear before we start the Q&A is, what challenges are you facing right now?
Yeah, great question. My challenge is figuring out that vein of scale for our company. We've run quite a few tests on paid media, and so we've got our numbers dialed in. I know what we can go pay for subscribers for, and we know that we can go get a Android subscriber for about $4.50. When I say subscriber, an Android download for about $4.50. An iOS download talks to about $9.25 for an iOS download. And really the interesting thing is that we've learned, and this is kind of across most apps, is that iOS downloads are much more likely to result in a paid subscription than an Android download right there. So one of the most really effective channels that we've gotten is me speaking in front of groups. I teach a class called Leaving Your Legacy that's all about family connection, using laughter, learning, and love for family connection. That is a really effective channel to get immediate interest because people hear about a story in how we've done this. Presentations like this to larger groups, presentations and podcasts. I've done about 30 podcasts this year so far. Those are very cost-effective or low to no cost channels that are working, but they're not highly scalable unless I get much bigger audiences. So really finding a vein right there is the big challenge I'm facing today.
All right, and we're already into the Q&A. So first of all, thanks for the presentation. We're going to get to, if folks don't mind, go ahead and enter your question in the chat. Adam, or I'm not sure if you're checking in on YouTube just to see if we've got anything there. I was going to help kick things off. I wanted to get a sense of, you really covered well, I think, how the idea came together. I was curious, what was it that turned that from an idea, something you were thinking about working on, to turning it into an app, to turning it into something that you were going to sell as a service?
Yeah, I started thinking about the idea of creating a product back in probably 2011. In fact, I've read some old journal entries I made to the kids where in 2012, where I said, this is the year I'm going to go create what was then called From My Heart to Yours, is what I was kind of calling this concept. And it took until 2019 to bring that to reality. And mostly because I've been in the real estate brokerage and broker ownership business for many years, and I just didn't have the bandwidth. And I assumed, oh, it'll be out there, someone else will have it. And I kept looking, and there was no solution for what I wanted and for what I was doing very manually. And because there was no solution, and to be quite honest, the big impetus is I had the ability to meet and visit with Jeff Hoffman, the founder of Priceline.com. He's a billionaire. He had founded multiple different companies, a fascinating guy. And I told him about what I had been doing and my desire to create this. And Jeff kind of looked at me and said, it's actually a good idea. You should probably go take action on that. And those words from Jeff Hoffman got me off my butt, if you will. And I had some things that really I had scaled back in part of my real estate business about 1.5 years earlier, so that it freed up the bandwidth for me to take advantage of this.
That's awesome. Yeah, sometimes a nudge really helps. Let's see, I'd like to ask Bobsy and then Miriam to ask your questions.
Hi, thank you, Ken, for your presentation this morning. So my question is, on the app itself, is there a way to input past events, or does it start from like today, like on?
100%. You can go back and backdate anything. And the cool thing is that I didn't really talk about. So when you set up an account with Legacy of Love, you can enter in your birth date and your children or your family members' birth dates. And so if you go down and backdate an event, the system kind of says, oh, well, you were 32 years old and Sally was 6 months old at this time. It's really, really kind of cool. So in the timeline, it chronicles your age in the timeline based on the ages you were at the date of entry.
Thank you so much.
Certainly.
Okay, so I belong to 2 organizations that would be an excellent fit for you to join up with. First of all, the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals. So they have a business membership, but it would be a way to get you in front of all those people that meant to do something with their kids' scrapbooks. And then there's the photo managers, which are photo organizers. They're professional organizers that specialize in just photo organizing. And they are always looking for ways to streamline their end product or add a different option for their clients as the end result of the work. And I think that would be a really strong connection for you to make. They just finished a month-long challenge. They do it a couple times a year where they have, this year they did it virtually. So there was all these speakers and stuff virtually on different aspects of organizing their legacy story. So that would be a great one. But also I'm curious I know you got this scrapbook from your aunt, but I'm wondering what your background in these trainings and teachings about story and legacy, where did that come up for you? It seems like a bit of a side journey from real estate.
Yeah, first let me say that thank you for those 2 suggestions. And one of our early subscribers, like in the first 3 months of us releasing, came from Australia, and she found us on a dad's podcast. I was on a dad's podcast. I'm like, it's so fascinating that a lady in Australia was listening to a dad's podcast from the States, and she's a member of the photo organizer. That's what she does. She organizes photos, and it's fascinating that she's been one of our very active members from the get-go. And the journey to speaking on a topic like this has been through my real estate business. I've spoke for years on, it was team building. It was so that I could help others. So I spoke on team building. I spoke on wealth building. So things that I was passionate about. And at the time I was building a big real estate team. So I spoke on team building. And then really what my passion was building wealth and streams of income and paying off debt and those kinds. So I spoke on that. And as this started to evolve, all of those things are still important to me, building businesses, building wealth. But what really fuels me and gives me passion is connectivity with people and family connectivity. So I designed this it's about an hour-long class, and it was just around my passions. And I ended up creating, I thought, what do we really do well, and what has meant a lot? And learning is so different today than it's ever been. And I have children from 17 to 4, and the way that they've learned. So I teach people about different ways to learn. It's really based on my personal experience, laughter and how we use laughter in the family. And then I really dive into the 5 love languages and using the love languages for connectivity with your family members. And so the short answer is passion. I'm just pursuing my different veins of passion there.
Good.
Let's
Very
see, I think
cool.
we have Sonia up next.
Yes. So let's say there's an entrepreneur here today who has an idea for an app. What would you suggest? Like, what were your first steps, and how was that process like for you?
Great question. I could write a book on my mistakes, and maybe one day I will. I'm a non-technical founder, so I don't have coding experience. What I really, really wanted was a technical co-founder. I've read the stories and the books about you got the idea and the code, and I just didn't have one. I mean, my God, that's what I still would love to have had one of those. And so I ended up having to hire third-party development to come build the app. And I didn't know the first thing about that. So I talked to people that knew a little bit about it, and I didn't, like today I'm a member of a tech incubator in Fort Worth called Tech Fort Worth. I didn't know about Tech Fort Worth at the time. That would have been a huge help because I'd have learned a lot. I didn't know about angels at the time. There was just so much that I didn't know. And so I did the best I could asking other people that I knew, and had a guy that says, okay, well, first create your wireframes. Like, okay, great. What's a wireframe? I'd never even heard that word before. And so he kind of tells me what wireframes are. And then I spent literally months kind of trying to draw stuff out myself. And I was like, this is dumb. I was like, the dumb part is that for me, try to do it on my own. So I finally found a group that I could hire to help me create wireframes. And they did that, and they did a really good job at it. And then so some things I learned, though, are hiring overseas contractors, because you can certainly do that a lot less expensive. But what you miss right there, what I missed right there with overseas contract, they're real literal. So if you tell them some ideas, they are very literal and they will execute, but they are not, at least the ones I've come across, visionary. They don't kind of think, they're not great UI, UX. There's another, I didn't even know what UI or UX meant in terminology meant. So they're not like graphical designers to make things pretty and visual. I now have a technical team with a incredible UI UX guy. I'll give him ideas, and they're based in Chicago. So I've got a couple guys based in Chicago. They have outsourced teams from Vietnam that do a lot of the coding, but I've never interacted with those teams. I interact with the principal developer and the principal designer that have just done a wonderful job in helping me right there. But I guess a few steps I would tell people, if you're interested in creating an app, get involved in your local tech incubator, start going to meetings, start visiting with people, come with a ton of humility and understanding that no matter what you think you know, there's probably so much that you don't know. So come from that perspective right there. And then there's online groups. Get involved. Read this book, okay? Hacking Growth. I'm reading this right now. This is like my new Bible right here. There's just a ton of books and things to learn through this, but get involved in a tech incubator, start asking questions. There's actually like something called, I think it's cofounders.com. That is a group where you can go. I got on there, but I was just real leery to go find a co-founder that I didn't know. I wanted to find someone that I knew and trusted right there. But there's all kinds of resources that you can have, but start early and start learning.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that was great. Let's see, we got a question from Sean.
Yes. Hello. Somebody's calling me right now.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Just cancel that. Yeah. So my question was similar to Sonia's, but I am curious a little bit more about the buildup and the preparation beforehand, and just the timeline, because sometimes people think like, oh, it just happened overnight, but like there's a lot of growth and work beforehand. So you started 2011 and then you launched May 2019. So when you launched May 2019, like how long before that had you been working like just totally by yourself, just grinding? And then you said you found a co-founder. Like, when did that happen? So if you could just talk a little bit more about that runway up to launching and like some of the struggles that you had, and how long did it take you to kind of realize like, hey, I need to ask for a co-founder, I need to ask for a tech guy, I need to ask for,
So I met with Jeff Hoffman in December 2017.
Okay.
Is when I had the mastermind with Jeff Hoffman.
Okay.
And so I made the commitment December 2017. Throughout the first, let's call it 6 months of 2018 is when I was just moving really slowly, struggling with that wireframe concept and thoughts of doing it myself. It was probably mid-year 2018 when I connected. I actually met a guy on a plane that said, and I told him about this concept. He said, I've got a buddy that's in Silicon Valley that's an app developer. And so their group helped me do the wireframes through there. And then I was trying to figure, okay, do I hire their group? How do I go find other groups to interview? And so I did best I could. I ended up with about 4 different developers that I interviewed with, cost ranging from, $40,000 to $150,000, just a wide range of cost right there. Let me get back to the thing that I wish someone would have told me. We launched as a totally cross-platform, web-based with iOS with Android. That's 3 different platforms. And why did we do that? Well, because Evernote was like that, and I had used Evernote as kind of a benchmark for I want to be like Evernote so that anyone can use it from wherever. I wish someone would have slapped me in the face and said, hey, Yahoo, start with one platform, focus on one, because it's going to be so much less expensive. Build your traction through there, and then start expanding the platforms as you go. But no one gave me that advice, so I'll give all of you that advice. If you want to do something, pick a platform and run with that, and then expand. Because frankly, right now, we're about to sunset our web platform because it's just so cost prohibitive to try to, and what we've noticed is that of our user base, less than 5% of our user base ever uses the website. It's all on the app side right there. And we spent so much money and resources developing that web platform. And frankly, it's where most of our problems have been as well, is trying to have them all talk together. So fast forward, so I'm mid 2018, I finally started interviewing other developers. By October of 2019, I had finally found the developer I was going to go with, who I wanted to be like a co-founder. So I gave him an equity option into the company. He was a friend of mine who helped me build it. He had a team in India that built our app. And again, he was a friend of mine. He had developed a very successful real estate app that I used. So I was like, okay, he had this team. It went great. We launched the app we actually launched the web portal in March of 2019, the app in May of 2019. And by August of 2019, I realized I had problems. I was having my own app. I'm like, if I'm the founder and CEO of this, my app is crashing. What the hell is going on with our users out there, right? That don't know me and don't know this. And anyway, I end up firing my original partner person. I actually had to buy him out, which was a real tough pill to swallow, because he had not performed. And I mean, technically he didn't meet his metrics, and I didn't, have to pay him everything, but I had to pay him some go away money to go away. And then I found this new tech team that had come from a referral from another friend of mine that they had built an app for him. And I interviewed at that time another 5 different developers, hired this one tech team. And I'll tell you why I hired them more than anything. They were so responsive. I mean, I could text this guy at 9 o'clock at night. He would respond. And not that I expect that of people, right? But he would respond back. They offered to set up my GitHub account for me so that I could put all of our code into GitHub and have a bunch of different people evaluate it. First of all, I didn't know what GitHub was. And then I damn sure didn't know how to I still don't know how to put all my stuff into there. They did it all gratis. They said, look, we'll just do this, no problem. You can give everyone access to it. They can then evaluate your code. And they would always go above and beyond to help me. And so they've been a wonderful partner since we hired them.
All right, we've got one last question from our audience for today. We'll go to Ben McDougall.
Hey, Ken, great presentation, pal. Like I said in the private chat, I really appreciate the sentiment behind your startup story.
Thank you.
I feel like I take a similar approach to fatherhood, and really recognizing that my little startup that pays in love will grow up, and recognizing the opportunity to share her stories before she was here and as she evolves. I personally like to use email and have an email set up for her, and that's a fun way. I also like creating video that's easy to digest and fun to watch later. And so I'm curious about how you can use those types of things within your platform. My question in the chat, however, was associated to a fear that I feel like some initial users might have of really dumping a lot of time and effort into an app that they don't control. I love the idea of being able to export it into a photo book, but how can you resolve that fear? I know it won't happen, but in case the status of your app ever changes.
No, it's a common question, and it's a great question. One that I've got. Man, God, I've spent 17 years of putting my heart and soul. Just like, okay, when I had to fire my development team, I spent an hour and a half writing this deep entry about the vacation we were on and documented it all. And then my damn app crashed. I lost an hour and a half worth of just pouring your soul and your heart into something, and the app crashed. So no, I resonate with that question very well. My commitment and promise, I mean, if God forbid something happens and we shut down, every person that's ever put anything will get their data. We will have an export feature. They will get their data, because I recognize 1000% what that means. This is not like random data that you're putting in. It's not even notes from a conference you went to. This is your heart and soul that goes into this. And so I thought when I saw that question, though, it might be related to what if your account status changes from a paid premium or family member to a free. And our process is that if someone ever downgrades their account, same thing, you have access to your data. You just can't keep entering more video, more audio, stuff like that. Our basic account, you can enter just a handful of entries per month and one photo per entry. But if you downgrade, you still have access to your account. And if you choose that, hey, like my whole intent on this, my whole life was I would do this for 18 years until my children graduated high school. I would give it to them, and that would be kind of when I'm done. Now I'm like, hell, that day's coming in a year, man. That scares the crap out of me. First of all, that my little girl's about to graduate high school. I'm going to give her this stuff. And so I will continue writing to my children and my grandchildren until the day I die. It will be my final parting gift to them. So for anyone that has data, it's their data. We will have a way to export into probably like a JSON file is what I'm seeing some other people are doing, so that they can, in essence, put that into their own personal blog page or personal website, or store that and have access to everything. To your comment on email, as we sunset the web app, one of the things we're going to be implementing, so it should be done in the next 90 days, is a way to email directly into the app as well. So that if you just wanted, because for me, I type a lot faster than that I can do this, I can type this. And so I use an iPad. Actually, this is where I do most of my entries, is on an iPad with a keyboard. So I do it this way. But for people that want to email it, we should have a wait about 90 days to email an entry into the system. And as far as video, you can either upload video or you can take video direct from the app. The cool thing about video direct from the app, this was one of the really cool things that the developers did right. They saw this idea I had in a mind map, and they created it and made it right. It was amazing. So we do year-end interviews in our family. So each December, I ask the kids the same 20 questions that I've asked them since they were little bitty ones, and have watched the answers evolve over time. And if you're recording the video from your phone or your tablet, the questions hover on your phone, and you can just swipe through the questions as you're going. It's really slick. So that's just ways to use video.
So first of all, I just want to thank Ken again. As I think everyone can tell, Ken's just, it's been a real pleasure to work with him. I like all the different aspects of it. So I'm looking forward, but probably to even, watching this video again later. If you like, you have a chance to join up with him and the breakout rooms that we'll have coming up soon. I have our sort of standard couple of questions to ask before we get out of this section. And the first of those is the New Mexico State question, which is not necessarily familiar to everyone. So, you know, be warned, Ben, you've probably heard this before a couple times, or Ben's. And that is, first of all, red or green, referring to chili.
So I think the answer would be red on chili for me. And the answer is really because I make a homemade chili every winter that is primarily red, and that it's got ground beef, venison in it, onions, jalapenos, a mixture of spices in there, and 3 16-ounce beers that all go into this chili, and it simmers for about 4 hours, and it's absolutely divine. And so it looks very red, so I'm going to go with red.
It sounds
That's
like we
awesome.
need to
That's
send you
awesome.
some chili, some New Mexico chili.
Yes, please.
And last one is, and you mentioned a couple different things, but what can we as a group, as a community, what can we do to help you continue to grow your company?
Look, thank you for that. I'm looking to put a strategic board of advisors in place. And if you know anyone that we should consider, I'm looking for people that have experience in scale, experience either scaling an app, scaling a membership group into a significant, our vision is to grow to 10 million families that are using our app right here. And so we're looking for significant scale right there, people that have built large teams, and people that will come with capital. So angel type investment that come and say, we want to put money into this idea and we want to help it to scale and grow. So if you know anyone like that, we're also looking to make, along with that investment and money, we're looking to make 2 key hires for a product manager and for a kind of growth hacker, director of marketing right there. So again, if you know candidates that you think that be like, oh, wow, I know people that fit that role, would love that. And lastly, the kind of thing I mentioned that we're always looking to find is that that vein to find scale right there. And I know that actually the advisors and the key people that we'll put on the growth plan will help us to find that vein. But if anyone's got ideas that say, hey, you ought to be doing this, I'm all ears.
Well, that's great. Thanks again, Ken. Really appreciate you joining us here this morning. I'm going to hand it back to Sonia to take, I think it's Sonia taking us home.
Yes, I am. And I should flip over my piece of paper that has my list of things to do. All right. So the next thing we wanted to do, for those of you who've been with us live, we used to do events or activities afterwards. And so today what we'd like to do, if you know of an event that would be of interest to entrepreneurs, please post it in the chat and then also unmute yourself and share it with us. So is there an event coming up anytime soon? And while you think about that, I do want to ask you all to save the dates, November 20th and 21st. That's a Saturday and Sunday. And that is the end of Global Entrepreneurship Week. And so myself and Eric and a few others are putting together an event where we as a community can come together and come up with concrete, specific ideas to help other entrepreneurs begin or start or grow their business. So that's coming in November. Now, does anyone else have any events that you know of that might be of interest to our audience? There we go. Voting's coming up, so that's important. Eric, go ahead, and Eric, you want to share that?
Yeah, I'll just mention a couple things more kind of national things than the local. But Rise of the Rest was a big event here a few years back. Given COVID and all that, the bus tour is not happening this year. However, they are doing a special push for underrepresented founders. And I put that in the chat. So they are taking their applications, I want to say, through the 26th of October. A different event that is also really, really cool. I've had a chance to poke my head into a couple of previous of the tech inclusion events from changecatalyst.org. It's a great set of folks that are looking for, how to build up primarily Black and brown founders, but also job fair, sort of Capital Fair, a few other things. That event is running the 13th and 14th of October next week, and I'll put that in the chat as well.
Cool. All right. Any other entrepreneurial type events coming up that anyone knows of? No. All right. Next up, what I would love to hear if anyone has any big wins that they'd like to share with us. It's so quiet.
Paul's got his
Break a
hand
little
up.
wins too.
Well, oh, go ahead, Phil.
No, I said Paul's got his. Paul's waving.
Paul's waving. Oh, I can't see Paul. Paul, go ahead. Share.
We have been working with collaborators in France for a year and a half now, and we finally got the results we were looking for, and we're about to drop the hints in a blog post that's probably going to go public today. So it's been a long road, but I think people are going to be really surprised at what we have. To give you a preview, we study genes in horses. This one happens to be an enzyme. To understand the defect in horses, we moved the enzyme into yeast cells and mutated it in yeast. So we have direct biochemical evidence for this, and it's a big deal for us.
Nice. Good job. All right. One more. Well, oh, go ahead.
This is Kendall. We have Invest New Mexico, which is the Opportunity Zone investment group that we have. And one of the companies that we have is Isblit, which was building homes and products using shipping containers. We have merged that company with a company called IndieDwell, and it'll be IndieDwell of New Mexico. IndieDwell is a national company that has 8 factories across the country building products using shipping containers, and have multiple projects going throughout the country. So it's a success of one of our Invest New Mexico companies.
Nice.
And so the factory, once COVID is done, we'll be building a factory here in Albuquerque to build the first products we're going to be building are called glamping units, which are glamorous camping units that there's a sale. We have a sale for multiple RV parks, and to put these glamping units so that now instead of vacationing in a motorhome, you vacation your SUV and stop and use these glamping units.
Nice.
Right.
All right. Congratulations, Ken.
Thank you.
I know so I just had my short story-a-thon, my latest one this weekend, and 2 of our writers, their stories made it to #1 in their genre on Amazon. So that was exciting. All right. Well, I think it's time for us to split into rooms because I want you guys get some time to talk with each other in smaller groups. So if you haven't already, post in the chat for Lisa what room you want, right? We've got the COVID room, or we've got the room to talk to Ken, or you can just hang out with the people who haven't made a decision. So are you all set, Lisa?
I'm all set. If you've asked for a room, as soon as I open them, you'll be gone. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to pause recording. We'll go ahead and take off.